Hey, Robert, can you hear me okay?
I got you, brother.
Thumbs up, man. How's your day going so far?
It's going. It's a going. Just, you know.
I appreciate your background. That's a great Christmas story lamp you have.
Got my lamp, got my little awards, got some guitars going.
Well, we were
Uh,
connected to speak about the Juneteenth Unity Fest. How long was that in the works for? In other words, how long did you have to keep it a secret that you had this amazing festival?
Man, we've been working on it literally since last July, right? After seeing all what happened last year and what was going on in the country and how Juneteenth actually, was becoming sort of this big story in this day that everybody was interested last year, of course, because we were all confined to our devices and sitting at home.
Yeah.
And coming off of the George Floyd killing, going into everybody leading into the streets and marching and holding hands, and then it led right into the actual Juneteenth. So it became this big social media deal where people was wanting to find out about what's this behind Juneteenth. So I figured that this would be a way to not only tell the story of Juneteenth, also be able to tell the historical end of slavery and all of the different stories of Black culture and accomplishment, and everybody who's sort of been aligned and have been focused on that from that point until now, and then continuing on now. Hence why we're all talking today.
Excellent cause and purpose, to say the least, but the lineup is unbelievable. Do you remember the first artist that came on board and say, yes, I got to do this?
Man, I would say I think I believe it was Nile Rodgers and or Darius Rucker. One of those two came first. Although we asked a lot of, we were asking a lot of people, and there's different things that play into trying to make it all work budget wise and everything. But we asked a lot of artists. But I think the first one that might have said yes was, I believe it was Darius Rucker. Then it was Nile Ross. I could be wrong though, but I want to leave with those two.
Both artists I listen to a lot. So this
Yeah.
is under your foundation's banner. And in reading the biography on the festival and the foundation in general, it says that this is an annual festival, which is great. Most people who announce a big festival say, let's see how this one goes, and then we'll take it from there. So I take it that you have a long-term lease situation going on with where the festival is being held?
Well, yeah. Well, this year what we decided to do was we decided to have all these sort of live virtual stages because we had to deal with something that was actually definite, right? We last year when we started planning it as of last July, we originally were going to do it in DC. Then we were pivoting to Atlanta as we got to January, but there was still all these questions, right? And this is to tell you how far we've come since January, right? We reached out to a number of artists and hosts, and they were like, "There's no way we're going to be able to be all, in the backstage together, and people are not going to feel comfortable in June." And now everybody's on tour, right? Festivals are getting announced all over. So we had to stick with this live virtual setting, and we were able to get some pre-recorded, but there'd be a lot of people going live on that day from different sites, different cities, in that sort of format. But it's a hell of a storytelling, great musical performances where people could really understand the history of Juneteenth, coming out of that into, all of the different accomplishments and all of the different community partners that have been contributing to making America this all for one for all, a more perfect union as we like, right? And here we are every year we're going to come together, right? First, celebrating all of the history of Black culture and what it is and who's doing what, and also the history of it all. But hey, it's our official holiday because we don't really have one, right?
Fair. And one of the cool things that's part of the festival is that you got Experience Hendrix to license some showings of that great Jimi performance from 1970. Did you specifically choose that performance, or did you say, hey, we'd love anything that your team would love to give us?
Well, yeah, that was, because I know the Hendrix family and I know how difficult it is to get anything from them. And I was just sort of reaching out, and within 60 seconds, they were like, no problem, whatever you need. This is great. We love this. We're going to celebrate this day with you guys. And I'm like, my mouth was like wide open for like 10 minutes. I was like, what's the catch here? Like, because we don't have any money. But it's just one of those things to where, a lot of artists, like Hendrix, like Keb Mo. I mean, when you think of Dave Matthews Band, right? When you got 75% of the band is Black and they all come from Charlottesville, Virginia, and that whole thing. And I know those guys. So they're not usually in the conversation of like, oh, it's Black Music Day or Black event. As Keb Mo actually said, Keb Mo was like, damn, nobody ever calls me for any Black event. Like he's not Black, right? It's kind of funny. So the Hendrix, family and the estate was like, whatever it is, she was just like, just tell me what you want, how long it has to be. And I was like, all right, no problem. I'm not going to bother you anymore. I don't even want you to think twice about it.
That's so great to hear because as you pointed out, the Experience Hendrix team is very protective of the brand and only wants to work with people and things that are either paying $1 trillion or they believe in. And
exactly.
And I think they believe in what you do. But again, that specific performance, you chose that. Was there any significant reason as to why? Is it the Atlanta 1970 show?
Yeah, it was the Atlanta 1970 show. I mean, given that the history of Atlanta itself, right? And given the version of, I'm not going to give it all, but one of the versions of Star Spangled Banner that he did there was unbelievable. And it just tied into this whole storyline of the show, which it is a storyline, but it's not. It's just this information and it's all in one place that people could really just really put themselves into this world of like this amazing story of, because a lot of times we like to think like it's kind of like, you have one of the things that's always been the story or the history of sort of America. It's like, well, you had people over here, then you had slaves, and then the slaves were freed, and then let's fast forward to Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King,
right?
And then
1962, and yeah.
Yeah, so it's like nobody understands what happened in between all of that.
Yeah,
and everything sort of scattered. So we're just proud that we have this sort of working festival and this working day. As in the state of New Jersey, it's now a state holiday. In the state of Massachusetts, it's a state holiday. So Miss Opal Lee, who's 90 something years old, she's been fighting for years to make this a national holiday so we could recognize this story, this history, and right. So, we could all get wild and party and celebrate it, because it's, when you think about all of these names, right, and just think about there's so many names that have contributed for being descendants of slaves and contributing to what America is today. And there was always this continued fight, and there was always these stories of people aligning with one another to get over this hurdle, this new bill, this thing, that thing. And it's kind of like, it's time that we recognize this day. We have this day to be able to, so nobody's surprised when they hear about Tulsa, right?
Yeah.
If you're Black, you already knew about that. But most people, like I had a friend of mine, and he was like, man, I just saw this Tulsa documentary. It really upset me. He's like, I can't imagine if this happened anywhere else. And I was like, bro, this happened in like 30 other instances. And Tulsa wasn't the first one. It's just that footage was captured of what it actually was, right? So it's not the first time. So like, and it's like time out that we keep getting surprised about that. It's like, we should know the history of what happened. Is it a little dark and upsetting? Yes. Mm-hmm. Here we are today. And how do we move forward? Hence why when we were planning it, I wanted to make sure it wasn't just the Robert Randolph Foundation, but there's hundreds to thousands of community organizations, grassroots, that are lending a helping hand, doing work in their communities on a daily basis, that some of them have been doing it for the better part of 60, 70 years. So it's kind of like, let's form this coalition of grassroots charitable organizations, and let's uplift them so people know that, hey, this organization is in the town over, or it's over there, and we could kind of get involved and helping, toward a brighter future.
Right. Well, bring the focus back to you, the genius artist, and I said the word genius. 2019 brought a new studio album from you called Brighter Days. Of course, we didn't know that it wasn't the brightest of days coming ahead in 2020, but have you started writing another full-length album?
I've written so many songs during the time of COVID, so I don't even know if they all go together, because as you know, this is the first time we were actually sitting at home and we had nothing to do. So, 1 month I'm in a funk mood, 1 month I'm in a dirty rock mood, 1 month I'm in a, gospel mood, 1 month, so I have like so many different moods, so I think I'm gonna just start releasing just singles or something, because nobody really buys albums, right? So it's kind of like, if you like Robert Randolph, you already know the music. It's sort of ADD anyway. It's all over.
I don't think that there's one definitive answer. I remember 10 years or so ago, John Frusciante from the Red Hot Chili Peppers put out one solo album a month for 6 months or 9 months.
I remember it. I remember that. I remember that because we were actually in the studio recording with one of their producers, Jim Scott, at that time for about a better part of like 2 years. And Frusciante would be in the studio over again. I was like, gee, man, what is he working on? They're like, dude, he just puts out records, man.
Yeah.
So,
some people love the singles. When you see any interview with Paul Stanley from Kiss, he goes, why would Kiss do new music? Who wants to hear that? And then other people will do the John Frusciante thing. So I don't think that there's a clear answer as to what it is you should do, except keep making art.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're here to do. We're here to, first and foremost, that's what we love to do, right? We love to be able to write songs, record songs, but the ultimate satisfaction is going to play songs live for a live audience. And that whole element has been stripped away from the whole entire music industry. So we could have and watch people sing these songs that we recorded and look at the smiling faces and watch people dance. And so the fact that we get to have all of that back right now, you see everybody kind of like stop bickering all online now because everybody's busy going to live shows and enjoying music and being outside. And that's what music does,
And then another project of yours, I had the pleasure of doing Q&A over email, if that counts as an interview with you, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, about The Word. Is there any chance The Word might regroup for anything in the future?
Yeah, The Word is we're about to record in July, about to record a new album in July. We'll most likely do it at Lee Von Helm Studio. So I think we're leaning on a 2-part, like studio and live kind of record, because as you know, the barn, right, is a live intimate venue to where.
Yeah.
So The Word has never done that, so we're looking to probably do that. We already got it on schedule for next month, so we're just trying to see if we're going to add a live audience component.
Oh, that is exciting on my end, at least. So looking forward to that. That's something I wasn't able to figure out is I put you in that guitar god category. You're a modest person, so you're not going to do that. But you find that guitar gods kind of go in 2 directions, where 1, they're friends with every other notable guitar player, or 2, they don't hang out with any guitar players and they're kind of isolated. I was trying to figure out if you ever had an interaction with Eddie Van Halen before he passed.
I met Eddie Van Halen one time. We were at an event in LA. It was a private party, and he played. I didn't play. They were like, "Hey, maybe you should jump up if Eddie asks you," because it's kind of like a super band thing with like Eddie and I'm not going blank. shoot. Beard. Why am I going blank? Bass
Billy
player,
Gibbons?
Beard. No. Beard, Jewish guy, bass player,
Oh,
producer.
Leland Sklar.
No, tall. Why am I going blank? I need my coffee.
You said
You
beard
know,
and Jewish.
Don Was.
Ah, there you go. Yeah, Don was
Yeah.
of the All-Star Band. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, so we were all there, but I met him, but I never got a chance to play with him. But he did say, he's like, hey, Robert, I love your playing and so forth. And he's like, man, I've been listening to you since you came out. And I was just like, wow, okay.
Wow,
You know.
that's fantastic. And two quick questions, and then you're free, because I know everyone wants to talk to Robert Randolph today. Next question I have is, for the foundation, this event is quite an undertaking. For most people, that would be the only thing they do. They wouldn't be making an album for the word and writing. It would be full-time working on this festival. But are there any other events that we may see from the foundation in the future, or at least causes that it's attached to?
Yes. So what the Robert Randolph Foundation focuses on is creating empowered youth and taking a grassroots approach to engage in our communities and education, and being able to equip you to be able to explore and create opportunities and careers. A lot of things that we all sort of complain that the school system is missing, right? So we're kind of not taking a chance, but stepping up and kind of, lending our opening up my whole Rolodex of people that I know to be able to provide these young men and women and inner cities to, really have a skill, right? Computer science, technology, financial literacy, all these different things, right? So, and one of the great things and one of the important things that I wanted to establish that's a part of Juneteenth was we formed all this, like I said, again, this coalition of organizations that we'll all be connected all year on a daily basis to be able to pull each other into helping everyone out. Because as you know, there's some people that's criminal justice reform, there's some people for women's rights, battered women, drug recovery addiction, which I'm not good for. Yeah, right, yeah. But education. And so we're all, now Rogers has his Children to the Front Fund, where they work with children too on the same way and prepare them in every aspect, literally from all around the world, right? And so it's great so you'll see many events, as this is sort of the rollout of the Robert Randolph Foundation to Create Your Future program, but we'll all be tied together. As you know, like you probably didn't know, like Usher had a foundation, right? And
I actually did. I read a little too much,
okay.
So I know my stuff there.
Yeah. Well, see, you know that, but I did. So like now we'll all be tied together, and this Juneteenth Unityfest every year, as we form this bigger coalition each year, that people, when people decide that they want to help, they want to donate, they want to go visit a local charity, go visit and help out, whatever that cause is, they could do that. They'll have a site and information, because a lot of people, it's like, oh wow, I didn't know you were over there, So that's the great part of this, of what we wanted to accomplish and form for the Juneteenth Unityfest.
Everything sounds wonderful. And my last question, hopefully it's going to be the easiest one that you've had to answer so far. It's, do you have a TV recommendation you could pass along to someone who needs a new show to start?
A new show to start, I would say the new TV show about Compton. I forget what it's called. Them or something like that. I believe it's called Them. Check that out. That's a great TV show. And anyone of people, have you seen 50 Cent shows Power? Have you seen any of those?
I've seen Power, yes. I think he kind of keeps the stereotype going that every single rapper is a great actor. Every comedian is a great actor. Every rapper is a great actor, because they're up there playing a character. Therefore, why is it any different the second someone says action on a set?
Exactly, right.
But
Yeah, I would
guitarists
say
as actors,
those two. Yeah, I would
guitarists
say
as
those.
actors.
Actually, there's a new TV series called United States of Al that was on it's on CBS. So check that out. That's a great series.
Chuck
I
Lorre.
believe they're already up to like Chuck Lorre. Yeah, I believe they're up to like their 11th episode, tying up their first season. So check that out. It's a funny sitcom.
Will do. Well, thank you so much for your time, and looking forward to seeing you live in New York when the time comes, man.
Thanks a lot, brother.
Paltrocast.